Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Mama, that's right. That is not my president. Hold up, let her cook. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and came before you. And that means everything.
Hey YouTube.
I'm Elbi.
I'm Kaiya.
And we're about to check our DMs. Let's check them. Hey Kaiya.
Yes.
You haven't checked your DMs, have you?
Not frequently.
Okay, it's okay. I made you a PowerPoint to just summarize my thoughts over the past few weeks, because I know you're busy, you don't have time, you have the kids, they're cats, and you just don't have time, and that's okay. Like 40-hour work week, who has time? So I condensed it into a PowerPoint, and we're gonna go over my thoughts over the past few weeks, and it'll be a very fun, delightful treat.
That's access intimacy.
Huh?
You're like providing tweets for me in a way that's accessible.
Oh.
It's access intimacy.
I've never heard that.
It's a concept developed by Mia Mingus. We can link it below.
This bitch love Mia Mingus. I love that. But anyways, so I have a PowerPoint of just my own reflections over the past few weeks. Basically starting with, I don't even know how many weeks ago it was, maybe 2 weeks ago now, when the sort of grassroots uprising started in LA with the ICE riots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little short PowerPoint of my thoughts and this and that, and let's just dive in, okay?
Okay. Yes.
Let's start. Okay, look, here is my PowerPoint.
Nice.
My ICE reaction by Elbi. Okay. Oh my gosh. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Black reactionary response.
Already, I love like the work done on the PowerPoint.
Thank you. I tried.
Like there's a lot of animation.
Oh, I always had animation in my PowerPoints. I don't know about you, but when this first started, I saw so many, specifically like black people being like, this is not our fight, and being very much like Black American first, which is funny because, you know, like Trump is like America first, and it was like they were like Black America first, and being like, this is not our fight, xenophobia, and also just, yeah, just like, does this affect me? Well, then I will do nothing. And that was like the vibe. And so yeah, I wanted to talk about that first. And I also have this guy who I said bacon, eggs, and cheese pod, which that's not his name, but you know, I just thought you got the idea.
Yeah.
Because he is a, I don't know, mid-sized influencer person who kind of became a bit, he was like on my timeline a lot because he was, I think, had a decent following and made a statement, a reactionary statement, basically being like, this is not our fight. Well, I guess let me read it a little bit and say it says, Black people have to reckon with anti-Blackness being pervasive throughout all cultures, white and POC alike. Our humanity and empathy and not wanting to see people done how we've been done. Then being called upon like guard dogs, which there was a lot of criticism where people were saying, who is making that call? I saw so many tweets, people being like, who is calling upon the Black community? You are making that up. Mm-hmm. Which I also did not see who is making that call. Anyways, so it says, then being called upon like guard dogs from people who not only don't answer our calls to justice, but are on the phone with our enemies. So, ... It's kind of fuck y'all till y'all figure it out. It's Black and brown pride today, and I'm a, as they say on TikTok, tomorrow I'll risk no reward. Anywho, I just thought this was crazy that this guy kind of just laid it out there and was like, and then also quote tweeted and said functional solidarity.
I mean, it's interesting. Well, first of all, in regards to this guard dogs idea, I can't help but like think about the like outside agitator like myth that comes up like every time there's a grassroots uprising. This idea that like people are like called to the scene instead of like
Actors.
deciding to do something
Paid
themselves.
actors or something.
Yeah. It's just the idea that like there aren't Black people in LA that are deciding to uprise like is really just short-sighted. And I think that the only people that are truly called to a scene ever from faraway communities are the cops. Like, no, literally, like, do you know about it's called mutual aid, is this like policy? Do you know about it? Like when the cops are responding to like a grassroots uprising, they have deals with other departments like pretty far away that they can like come immediately to help quell the riot. So this idea of like an outside agitator really only applies to cops.
Okay, I've definitely seen that like in Dayton, Ohio, where I'm from.
It happens regularly. And so like to bring it back to the tweet, I think it's like just a really pervasive idea that comes up every time there's like a grassroots uprising, that they're the people like doing the like uprising, like doing the like things that are actually dangerous to the state are coming from other areas. Like there's no imagination that there's people in LA, for example, that actually want change. And there's no imagination that that can include Black people.
I mean, it reminds me of what they were saying about the college protesters of like, how are they camping there and buying things and being there? It's just like, it's crazy that people can't process that people care about things. But anywho, jumping back in. So yes, there was so many people saying this is not our fight and making jokes about it, and it was xenophobic. It was like Black America first. It was like, we don't care about you. The same sentiment said to like Palestinians as well. It's just like, I only care about Black Americans and nobody else. And it's just like, okay, so your politics are selfish. Got it. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, I guess if you want to announce that. First I said, this is not our fight. And I said, girl, what the fuck is our fight exactly? Because I'm like, what is the fight then? Because it's just like, are you saying this fight, which is basically, white supremacy versus the world, imperialism, empire, USA, yada yada.
Yeah.
And then I said transactional solidarity, which I think there was another post he said where he was using that language of transactional. And I said, what transaction are you getting out of assimilating into white supremacy exactly? A seat at the white supremacy table? Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Yeah. I mean, but we see that with certain billionaires that like are willing to sell out for a seat at the table.
Well, I mean, billionaires have the option to have a seat for sure.
Absolutely. And so it's sad to see when people aren't billionaires, like their dream is to sell out for a seat at the table.
I know, and it's just so sad to say that like loudly and publicly when it's like, oh, you thought that you were a part of this is only for like billionaires. Like you're not ever going to be at the table.
And what's also like unfortunate about that like sort of incoherent like idea that this guy is talking about is like, from what I remember when he went viral last time, like in his video he like had like a bunch of like books, right? Like Black radical
On his
books
set.
like on his set, and it's like, did you read any of them?
I don't know if he did.
Like, it seems like he did not, because if he actually was reading like Black radical thought from the 60s, he would see that solidarity, and like especially like solidarity with like colonized peoples, is like very much a tenet of like Black radical organizing.
Let me add to the slide because I have a little bit of jibber jabber I wanted to add, which is some additional thoughts. So like I said, I was using this guy as an example, but there was a lot of posting like this of just a lot of, I saw one that keeps coming to mind, which maybe I'll find it, where it was like a gif of Black people dancing and it was like, not my fight, like you guys have to deal with this. And it just sort of like, come on, bro, like what is your, who's your enemy then, bro? Like who's your enemy if this ain't your fight? And I went on my little tangent and I said, people are eager to gain privilege and have someone beneath them to point and laugh at. And then I went on my little tangent. As someone from the Midwest, I'm from Dayton, Ohio mention. Coastal elites do this to the Midwest and South constantly, as if these oppressive systems violently attacking us are only in certain states or regions. Mama, wake up. It's cope. And it's just like, it's cope, and it's like, at least I don't have it as bad as those guys. And that's the attitude. It's like, I'm not as bad as they are. That leads me to my next point, which is hyper-individualism will always be white supremacy coded. They want us to divide and conquer. And then my next point, last point, you guys, don't worry. Muddy the water to confuse the root issue, so it's harder for there to be solidarity towards the actual issue at hand.
No, absolutely. And like that last point, I mean, that's something that I think becomes an issue again and again every time we see a grassroots uprising, like the ICE uprising that just happened. It becomes an issue of discourse rather than an issue of material conditions. And so just like as a reminder, the material conditions are people getting ripped away, taken away, kidnapped literally by not just ICE agents, cops, soldiers, like, you know, US soldiers that have come as well, kidnapped and sent to concentration camps. It's like those are the material conditions that the uprising is addressing. And it is like scary, honestly, that like each time a natural uprising happens, the reaction from the neoliberal like centrists is about the discourse, like the words used to describe what is happening. The centrists are upset about the language and the decorum. It's never about the materiality. It's never about the literal violence.
It's disturbing and disgusting and so detached from humanity.
It is.
And they're extensions of the empire. They're speaking the propaganda for them. They're doing the work. But anyways, no, all great points. All great. And let's just hop back into my PowerPoint.
Please do.
And I had one more little slide here where I said, don't worry, guys. He was just drunk. Teehee. Anyone else get drunk and start saying racist shit?
Oh, my God.
Because he did tweet the next day because he kind of became a bit of like person of the day where a lot of people were quote tweeting him being like, hey, you're wrong. And so then he did say like, I was drunk and reactionary, sorry. And he did acknowledge that, but he said he was drunk. And it was just, that's why I said, like, anyone else just get drunk and start saying white supremacy thing? Moving on. My next slides. Let's look.
This is an excellent slide.
If Kamala won, we see an image here. We see an image here. Same dumbass take. Midwest libs, LA libs. And their hands are intertwined. Dayton, Ohio on the left. Shout out. Los Angeles on the right. Not shout out. And then here's my thoughts. Sorry, coastal elites, but your lips are just as dumb as the ones in the Midwest. Ha ha.
Oh my God.
It's okay if you unironically thought these takes were good. We all have to start somewhere. But white people openly acknowledging that their support and solidarity are transactional isn't cool. You should be in solidarity with black and brown people who are targeted by the prison industrial complex, the police, ICE, even when your team doesn't win. Those systems do not go on pause when we have a blue person in office. And it's embarrassing to admit your solidarity for people of color is not constant. What is it you stand for? Is it the optics? Because what do you mean if Kamala won, you wouldn't care that ICE is still kidnapping people? Because it doesn't just stop. And it's so weird for white people to be like, if Kamala was here, I wouldn't feel a need to post on Instagram that I'm upset. Because that's what they're saying.
That's literally
They're
what
saying,
they're saying.
I wouldn't feel a need to be like posturing that I'm upset, because we would know that the polite lady would be doing it and would be asking Congress first. If you'll see in both these images, Midwest and LA, it's white people proudly throwing these signs up. And I would be surprised if it was anybody else, because it's just like so on the nose of like, well, like in the last one of the black reactionary response, it's like, well, this doesn't affect me, I don't need to posture. So it's just crazy how everyone's so open now about how like the optics and the posturing is just like self-fulfilling, and like I only care about what makes me look good at the end of the day. And that's what my solidarity is, transactional. Anywho, next.
I don't think it's just now, though. I think that a moderate who is open about their solidarity being transactional has existed for a long time. I mean, that's like the
MLK
white
quote.
moderate quote
Yes.
from MLK from his letter from Birmingham that people don't like to quote.
They hate that because it's true. Like, there's like a really great quote of like the white moderate is like the most dangerous thing. And to be honest, it needs to be updated about just like the moderate, because I mean, back when I was in Dayton, Ohio, the races are very white and black. And that made sense to me, which where he was, that made sense. But now that I'm in California, where the races are like mostly white, Latino, and Asian, and then white, and then a tiny bit of black people, it's just like, it just feels like it needs to just be like the moderate, because it's like all the people of color who are anti-black here, which is like all of them. And so it's just like most people are just like, no, be quiet, be quiet.
Well, I mean, I think it's like this reaction of like being open about, I would not care if things were polite, I would not care if decorum was being followed, is a centrist reaction. Like it's actually
crazy.
Not the reaction of the left or the right.
It's so true. It's just being like, excuse me, you're supposed to say please first.
Exactly.
And it's just like, I'm not mad that you're killing people, but you didn't like ask Congress.
Yeah. And I think that it is like, like that is extremely disturbing to me.
It's just crazy, because I'm just like, the idea that you can ask Congress to kill people, you're like, that's fine. It's just that you didn't ask.
It's extremely disturbing to me. And those brunch signs are so telling. And like they should be archived, like absolutely. And they should be archived along with all of the other signs from protests, you know, like in the past. Because like that's not the first brunch sign that we've even seen in our lifetime, because it's not even the first march exactly like that after Trump won.
It was a bit of a meme.
Yeah.
That's why it was crazy that they were doing it. It was like, they don't know the meme. Like they were, like I feel like that was already a meme of like, we'd be at brunch. And then they did it, right?
No, exactly. Because, it's because they're not embarrassed.
I know.
It's because there's no shame in it. Because they are like truly standing by politeness as a political value.
And politeness is whiteness.
Absolutely. Well, and like the idea of niceness and whiteness has always been core to the expansion of white supremacy. And
Yeah.
like
Optics off.
it's yeah, no, absolutely. And it's always been core to like the way to other or justify like the horrors of white supremacy.
Yeah. And so that brings me to my next slide, which is...
Excellent.
It's basically a link to a video, which...
Okay.
I'm a dad, I'm a husband.
Oh my God.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
We're in the sidewalk.
All right, folks, it's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business. And that brings me to my next point, which is, it's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you, okay? It's not. And my point is, it's not clocking to you that the Democrats and the Republicans, this argument of the Trump administration, this and that and this and that. It's just like, girl, can we be fucking for real for once? And bingo, bam. It's just a graph showing how both parties are increasing the funding for ICE, supporting ICE. Both parties are. This idea that it's only this administration, it's just like, why are we lying? I'm sorry, like it just felt like funny because it felt like a few years ago people were like, wow, the right-wing people in QAnon, they're crazy. And then now it's just like, also we ignore science and facts as well. It's just kind of like, okay, can we get our feet back on the ground? Like, they are both funding ICE. This idea that it's only the Trump administration. It is not. These are systems of oppression that target communities no matter who's in office. So this idea that it's pointing the finger, muddying the water about who is the root cause. Because if we can all point to the root cause and have solidarity, then they have a problem. But it's easier to distract and Anyways, I have another thing, which is this little post I saw on Twitter, which I really liked, where it was somebody pointing out all of the years of how the Democrats have been funding ICE since 2003, and then the only time that they denounce ICE, it's when Trump was president, and it became convenient for them to point the finger and be like, oh, this is actually, you know what, this is only you. And then once he wasn't in office and after the 2020 uprisings, when people were pointing out how the police and, ICE, which is obviously a part of the police, and the systemic violence towards the disproportionately targets Black and brown people. It felt like in 2020 there was a lot of recognition of that. In every state there was uprisings and people were like acknowledging that fact, which is a statistical fact. It's not speculation. And then there was a lot of talk about defunding, and which nothing happened. It actually made them be like, we should be funding them more because that's scary, that like they want this to stop. And so then afterwards the Democrats were breaking records for funding ICE, definitely from a response from that. And now that Trump's in office again, we weren't doing that. It's just kind of like, girl, it's not clocking to you. If you, I can't handle the people that are like, the Trump administration is doing this. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm just like, are you 5 years old? Were you not alive? Were you Biden dementia? Like, I'm just like, it doesn't make sense. You're not looking at the facts. And I'm just like, it's not clocking to you. You're staying on business. And I just have this last one that's like, Harris says she's tougher on the border. I don't even remember why I put that in there. I think it was just like talking about just like how they want the same things.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember you mentioned like how crazy you feel about having watched the presidential debate.
Because because I did. I don't know about you, but I follow politics. And like everybody online's like, Kamala wouldn't have done this, as if she's dead. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Did we watch the same political debate? The presidential debate? Did we watch the same one? Because the one that I watched, they were having a Republican off, where they were basically having the same ideology. The only one that was like a hard black and white difference was abortion. The gay one was like kind of different, but like the rest of them, they were like, I remember the border one, because I was like, girl, they were like, the border and immigrants, Trump's like, it's bad and we need to get them gone. And then when it was like Kamala's turn, she was like, I think Trump didn't do a good enough job on it. I would have finished the wall and have been harder on it. And I was like, they're having Republican off. And then they're like, well, she would have been different. And I'm like, it's just like, is this fan fiction? Are you having a parasocial relationship in your head? Like, is this the AI version of Kamala in your head that you're talking to on ChatGPT? Like, I'm like, what are you talking about?
I mean, it would make sense because OpenAI has a military contract.
I
The,
mean,
the AI Kamala is talking to them.
I mean, and that's a whole other topic. But anywho, but it's not clocking to you. Next. So my next slide, ICE raids don't exist in a vacuum. I'm just really hammering this on the head because it just feels like people keep saying and keep wanting to play pretend and be like, they basically want to be like, when a blue person is the president, like, I pretend I don't see it. And then when Trump is in office, they're like, oh my God, ICE exists? Oh my God, the police is bad? Oh my God. And it's just like, what, why? And that's why it's so frustrating that those white people are probably like, if Kamala's here, I don't give a fuck about what's happening to people of color in the prison industrial complex. Like, that's so gross, dude. Anyways, let's click.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Mama, that's right. That is not my president. Hold up, let her cook. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and came before you. And that means everything. Like, ICE didn't just exist when Trump became president. None of this it's just like, let her cook. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? No. You exist in the context of all in which you live and came before you. And that means ICE has existed before Trump. All of these things have existed. All of these things that suddenly you care about. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? No, mama. That has existed in the context before you, or whatever the fuck she said. Okay? And it's just like, you guys love this and you love her giggling, but it seems you can't retain this quote because it honestly is a pretty good quote. This idea that like every 4 years, things dramatically change. It's just like, no. This oppressive systems, these systems of oppression, if you will, exist. They're embedded in our country. Regardless of who's in charge, they don't disappear, they don't change. And if you only care if a certain person is in office, then I think that's what needs to change. Anywho, what's the next slide? No kings and no primaries. So I don't know if you've heard about this. There was like a No Kings march. It was like a small little thing. Just kidding. It was giant. It was a nationwide thing. And let's see more of my slides. Ooh, you acting kind of sus. You dropped this king.
Oh my God.
So let's see. First, okay, happy for folks who are just now getting uncomfy in the empire and you want to do something about it. Like, I'm so happy that you like feel like things are not okay and you're like, what do I do? And you went out there like, yes, we need you. We need more people who are feeling uncomfortable because you should feel uncomfortable because things are not okay. But things are kind of sus though. Specifically the No Kings March, because I don't know if you know this, but it was like funded by Walmart, like the heiress of Walmart. And I'm just like, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you were alive during like Occupy Wall Street, but that happened like over a decade ago. And that was like pointing out the wealth income gap, and people were talking about it a lot. It kind of got buried away. Like
It did get buried.
as the government does so well when there's a grassroots movement. But it was pointing out how the government is being very obviously controlled by those who have the most money. That's still the case. And so it's just like, okay, the heirs of Walmart, billionaire bitch, is funding this nationwide protest. So that's a little sus, no? I think so. Anywho, so then my next point, I says, Dems support ICE also. Co-opting and reframing, who's to blame? I'm saying, so as you remember from my previous slide, just to give a little flashback, Democrats have been supporting ICE the whole time. The only time they were saying they weren't was when Trump is in office, and that's how they were like changing the narrative to point the finger, and it was like this new strategy, but they've always been supporting it and been funding it the whole time. So this No Kings thing was a nationwide protest after the grassroots uprising of the ICE riots in LA and then in other cities across the country. It was a natural grassroots movement because people are getting snatched at their homes, at schools, at everywhere. It was crazy. It is crazy. It's still happening. It's not done, but this oligarch is funding this nationwide march to sort of drive that energy of people feeling unsettled and to co-opt it, reframe it, and point the finger to, it's actually No Kings. No, not ICE, not this system of ICE that both parties support, and we want that. No, not ICE. It's the Trump administration, actually. He's doing it. It's not this like system that's always in place no matter who's in charge. Trump's doing it. It's No Kings. That's the framing. Yeah, that's it. And also it's the rich people are funding this reframing. It's like, okay, weird. And then I just was saying No Kings and no primaries because I just think it's really funny that their language is No Kings, and I'm like, okay, but like the Democratic Party didn't really like give us like a primary, and I'm like, is that kind of like the idea of like a king? Is like we don't really have a choice because like they didn't give a primary, and that's like not allowed, right? Like
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is, and they just kind of like brushed that by. And also like they knew Biden was like dementiaed out, and they
had
just
cancer.
Yeah, they knew that. They just let that happen, and because they didn't want to give us the choice of a primary, which if we're doing a whole No Kings thing and the direction is that the Trump administration is bad and we're not critiquing that the Democrats didn't give us a choice in the primaries, like how is that also not like a king thing?
It's almost like there's no context in
The coconut?
Yeah.
Bitch. Exactly. Did you just follow the coconut tree? Dumbass. Anyways, so that's crazy. And then another crazy thing, so like what's happening in the DNC, the Democratic Party, if you will, right now, which I think is also pretty funny if we're going to be saying No Kings, this only applies to them, let's point the finger, let's be confusing about what's happening. Just to give you a little update what's happened in the past like few weeks. So David Hogg's out for David. He was from, a kid that survived one of the school shootings. I'm sorry, there's been so many. March for Your Lives. Anyways, he was like a big during that, and he's been a prominent influencer Democrat person. He was voted as vice chair of the DNC, and then he was kicked out for trying to make the elections more fair. LOL, I say. I says, LOL.
Oh my
Because
god.
he was voted as vice chair for DNC and then got kicked out not too long after being fairly voted to that position, if you will, because that's what happened. And then he got kicked out because he wanted the elections to be more fair. And to be more specific, I will break it down for you. He was proposing that the primaries were more fair in that it's just so ironic because they're saying No Kings when he was like, hey, instead of it being like the primaries are just given to like the oldest people who are just basically have the most seniority, probably the most money, and the most funding by the billionaire class, and are the oldest people who just get pushed through and there's no choice from people, No Kings, no choice. He was like, what if we didn't do that? He was like, what if for the primaries we actually, ask the audience. He was like, what if we ask the public? What if we had them vote organically and let them choose? Like it's a democracy. Oh my God, like a democracy. What if we did a democracy? Like the olden days. Like the idea. I don't know if there was ever. Anyways,
I would.
there was never.
I would not say.
Not the olden days, sorry. What if we actually did what we say we do on paper? That's what I meant. Sorry, scratch that. There's never been a Anyways, sorry. I don't know who that was. Let's cut that. But anyways, it's just crazy to me because they're like no kings, but also it's just like, girl, he got voted into the DNC and was like, hey, what if for the primaries we like let the people pick who they want as like a representative? And his idea was, what if we let the population vote who they want as a Democratic leader, and then once the population votes who they want in each area, then the DNC backs them, and we push who the people want, and then we start, pushing them. And, the people who are old and have all of the financial backings of the billionaires and stuff who have seniority were like, oh, that makes me want to quit. That's like what the fucking dude and the like speaker, whatever dude, it leaked. They had like a private Zoom. He was like, that makes me want to quit because you're saying like I don't get like what I like have been doing this whole. He's like, you're saying I don't get it because I just like have seniority. Like he's like, that makes me want to quit because it's like, oh, because the people don't want to vote for you. You want to quit because you know that you won't be democratically voted in.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the no kings thing? If the leaders of the Democratic Party are kicking out somebody who is trying to get the voters to have a choice, and they're saying, oh, well, I don't want that because I know I'm not going to be picked. It's just like, girl, the no kings thing can be expanded. I think is the real tea. And it's just like the party line is the same. They're funded by the same billionaires, and the language is slightly different to make you feel like there's this choice and this and that. But I'm like, if you're mad about the idea of kings, then you should be looking at yourself. I just think it's funny. Someone got democratically voted in and was like, maybe we should do it fair and like a democracy. And they're like, you're kicked out. Like, why is that even allowed? But you guys probably don't even know about that because you're too busy at brunch, right? And you're still thinking about how you voted for the right person or whatever. Loser, bitch. Anyways.
Maybe,
go on, sorry.
maybe we do no kings again, but we bring the guillotine this time.
Yeah, we can try. But there was so many people. Oh, wait, I remember, sorry. Let me click. I have one more thing. So I remember, I have one more slide on this one. So like I saw there was a lot about the No Kings nationwide funded by Walmart co-optation protest march. There was a lot of reinsurgence of patriotism. There was a lot of American flags. There was a lot of USA chanting I heard, and also just it felt like a big part of it was reclaiming the American flag and patriotism and being like, no, we like America. It's the Trump is bad. We no kings here, but we like American flag. We like USA. We like everything it stands for: genocide, slavery, all of these things. We love that. It's just that this one guy, he's the problem. And it's just crazy because I just couldn't help but to reflect and be like, I don't know. I think it's kind of sus. I think it's a little sus. The resurgence of patriotism, the waving American flags, the chanting of USA, and the policing of anybody saying any anti-American sentiment was what a lot of people were saying was happening at these marches. And I'm just kind of like, that happening a week before the empire enters another war, funded by the oligarch class. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of sus to me. Like, you really think the Walmart bitch don't know what's going on?
It's true.
You think Miss Walmart ain't also aware? The country is obviously run by the people who have the most wealth. And one of the people with the most wealth is like, hey, everybody, no king. Like, and everyone's like, yeah, America, no king. And it's like, come on. Okay, and I'm almost done, folks. I'm almost done. My last side. It's impossible to fight for your liberation if you cannot properly see the root cause of your own oppression. Quote from me from my Instagram story.
Nice.
But it's true. And then I have one more picture. Boom. Nathan Fielder from the meme where he's like, the plan is. Because, I'm sorry, is this not the plan? Is this not the plan? Like, and that's the thing. Like, there was there's like a article saying how, which going into, I didn't really say, like, obviously the U.S. bombed Iran and this was this whole thing. And it's just like, there was this thing saying how, like, they were practicing this a year ago under the Biden administration. And so many people were like, they wouldn't do this if it was come on this party. And it's like, stop. I need us to be looking at the facts. I need to bring back Ben Shapiro's what facts don't care about your feelings, because I'm sorry, but you guys, it feels like we're only caring about feelings at this point and we're ignoring the facts. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm about to have to let Miss Ben Shapiro cook on that one.
Let's bring it back.
Miss Shapiro, step forward, because you were cooking on that one with facts don't care about your feelings. Because, like, then everything we're doing is we're no longer caring about the facts.
It's true.
And it's just like, I have the Nathan Fielder meme of like, the plan is, because it's just sort of like, does this not feel like an elaborate plan of like muddying the water, co-opting the grassroots thing, which happens every time if you look into it. They always do that.
It is a cycle.
It happens every time. And it's just like, it's a successful method that's worked every time, where people are like, we're mad at this institution. And they're like, oh, actually, you're mad at this thing. No, this thing. No, this thing. And it's like, oh, and my whole slideshow is like, this reactionary response of, I only care about this thing. And then the white people are like, well, I only care about this thing. And it's like, whoa, actually, this thing. And it's like, whoa, the context. If we're looking at the context and we're looking at the facts and the stats, you should be caring about all of it. And then the no kings thing, which was like an additional layer of delusion. And it's like, mama, was that not the plan? And that's why I have the Nathan Fielder thing, because it's like, it just seems like this is a orchestrated agenda. I rest my case.
Thank you so much for catching me up on your DMs.
Yes, no problem. And yeah, that's just, I just had to let you know. And it's just been a frustrating couple weeks, because people are, I saw a funny tweet, which I thought about adding and I didn't. I saw it today. I should have added it. But it was, do you know the meme of the woman who says she like escaped North Korea and she's on the Joe Rogan podcast? Yes. It was a screenshot of her and it said like, in America, you can't, I don't remember exactly, but it said something like, in America, you can't even acknowledge like factual political like dynamics about foreign policy without Americans like saying you're hurting their feelings. And I was like, exactly. And it was going to the facts don't care about your feelings, because it's like, why are we all being like, but that hurts my feelings? And it's like, I'm sorry, but the facts. I'm sorry, the facts, Miss Shapiro. But like, why are we caring about, I'm sorry, caring about the feelings about white supremacy rather than the facts about who it's targeting and hurting? That's what's happening. Anyways, I rest my case, and I'm glad that, I don't know, that's just, those were my thoughts, and yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing yours.
All right, so Elbi, I have something that I did not DM to you because I knew that you would not watch it unless I made you by having it on the podcast.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I guess so.
It's a video. I'm really excited to show you this video. I have shown this to other people and they have watched a lot of this creator's other videos. So I'm just letting you know that this is not only important to me, it's important to my community. So I truly hope that you will give this a chance.
Who's your community?
Mia. Oh. All right.
Pink Pony Club in Simlish.
Dwight flips yawa bermergel snay. Ben Gurno ben Macy's Simmons or Meanil Befway.
Yeah, it's hard to hear.
Dwight
That's all
flirp
now.
star even slappy squish.
Do you want me to start it over?
Lazy Gursy
I don't know if that's necessary.
Sniggle hay. Merskavi nippin means Dervivi Turkleby. Flip slanty mana fwab. Verskava scapawee. Vumaka mamu ploud. Ishkribi gerbil scene. So she be new girl. Who needs his scramble
Respect.
siva gob. With tabatwab. Vuvini navi girl. Even deep upsy scabo. Mamu dry. Scapiter fob. Not a stove in the jills. We stared right in bomber down by. Neep, nabi scab. Fine, even nipper deep upsy. Neep, nabi scab. Fine, even nipper deep down. But wish, hably pod. Fine, even nipper deep upsy. Neep, nabi scab. Neep, nabi scab.
Pink Pony Club in Simlish.
So is that Pink Pony Club in Simlish?
It was Pink Pony Club in Simlish.
Is that like actually like the Simlish words or whatever?
I believe so. I've watched several of this creator's videos, and we'll link to her. But this is a creator named Samara Bradley, and she has a lot of Simlish videos. And I have seen before that she does take the time to try to, really be true to the Simlish language and really respect the Simlish culture. So I don't know if you recall this, but I was really into finding Simlish covers back in like 2019. And I did try to make you watch a few with me and you wouldn't do it then. And it kind of seems like you won't do it now.
Well, I never grew up playing The Sims, so the Simlish videos is like a deep cut for people who've played The Sims, and I have not, so it doesn't really...
But can you not appreciate the artistry?
I appreciate it, but I feel like that's for people who play The Sims.
Can you not appreciate the absurdity?
I do. It's great. It's great.
Unconvincing.
Well, I didn't play The Sims.
Oh my God. But can you not appreciate silliness in life?
No, yeah, that was pretty silly.
It was silly in a fun way.
It's kind of like back when first generation YouTube, I used to really be into the misheard lyrics videos.
Mm-hmm.
And those were really fun.
And this is not?
No, it's like misheard lyrics, but in Simlish.
No, it's correctly heard lyrics in Simlish.
Those are the lyrics.
She's speaking Simlish. Just say you're ignorant about The Sims.
Just say you're ignorant about misheard lyric videos.
I am. I haven't seen those. So bring it to the next episode.
Okay. Thanks for watching Check Your DMs. This podcast is produced by just us. If you'd like to support this independent queer production, please subscribe to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/checkyourdmspod.
For $5 a month,
Or more if you're rich, if you just have some laying around.
you can help keep our production up and running, our rent paid, and our cat children happy. Patrons enjoy bonus episodes, including hot takes and copyrighted content watch-alongs.
Check Your DMs is co-written and co-produced by Elbi Bird and Kaiya Gordon.
Edited by Elbi Bird.
Music and sound design by Elbi Bird.
Production design by Kaiya Gordon.
Thank you for watching! And don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe. And ring that motherfucking bell.